experience to bring with you into whatever work you would choose. But that is not to say that all management consultants are good leaders or good managers, because it is different. And I asked you at the beginning, what's the difference? And I would like to hear some voices on that if someone would speak up or dare to have an opinion about it. And I've seen indeed also managers, good managers that would never be a good management consultant. And I can tell you why, but I will give a chance to some of the panel, to the participants also to have an opinion about it.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. That is actually a very, very on point answer. Let me just browse through the questions. Ma'am, if you can help me pick up the question.
Yeah, please. Okay, so questions. Yeah, I have got questions. So one question is, I hold a doctoral degree in the domain of organizational sustainability. How can I begin my career in management consulting? If you can suggest something.
So I lost you a little bit. In sustainable what? So
in organizational sustainability. She holds a doctoral degree in domain of organizational sustainability, and she wanted to begin her career in management consulting. So she is asking for some tips.
I remember the first interview I had when I decided I want to do this. I want to be a management consultant. And the first question I got from the CEO that interviewed me, and it was a miracle I got the job, because he asked me, what kind of consultant do you want to be then? And I must admit that I was a little bit, not only a little bit, I was very surprised. So I said, is there really different kind of consultants? So I learned after a while that there is indeed different kind of consultants and consulting. So I would say that the first question you have to ask yourself, what am I good at? What do I find inspiring? And what kind of consultant do I want to become? Is it business consulting in a more general approach to it with strategies and structures? Or is it more specific to some specific functions? And if you have a doctorate degree, which is already in itself very good, you have different options. You seek up one of the big consulting companies that are always looking for people. And they will give good training and the tools to deliver consulting, or you find a smaller consulting environment and you partner and team up with someone and you build your own system to deliver, or you do it on your own as a single consultant and try to sell what you believe is your specialty. But first and foremost, you need to make the decision and you need to start to behave like a consultant. I asked my first question to my mentor when I had my first assignment. So what do I do as a management consultant first and foremost? And he said, you behave like a consultant. And that means that you need to behave like a leader. You need to be respectful, but you need to be tough. You need to not avoid the issues. You need to be direct and give your opinion, because you're not there to be liked. You're there to help your client achieve something. You cannot afford to be kicked out, of course, so you should not be that unpolite. And I don't recommend unpolite at all, but behave and think like a consultant. It's the first step. And remember, consultants, business consultants, management consultants are in a way leading the leaders in different processes, which means you have to think and behave like a leader without taking over the authority of being a leader. And that's also important to remember. As a consultant, you have no authority. You cannot take any decisions on behalf of the client. Some clients will want you to, they will ask you, and they will take your word as this is the decision. Never fall into that trap. I think you should think like a medical doctor. Do no harm. Don't do something that you are not professional enough to know how to deal with. So you are there only to provide influence. You have only influence and no authority, and hopefully very little power, because power is about they really, really, really strongly need you. Then you have power. You can say, you know, if you want me, I will double my price. That is also not a good situation to be in. Short term, maybe, but long run, you will get a very bad reputation. So consulting is very much about ethics and behavior, guys. It's thinking like a professional, and any professional. Remember, the client is the client. You are not the client. I have had many assignments where I knew that these clients, they really need me, and they trusted me, they respected me. It would be very easy for me to tell them what else to do and what more to do. So I could charge them even more. Never fall into that trap, because it will be hunting you back. It's about karma, but it's also about people are not stupid. They will find out eventually.
Thank you, Kjetil. That is very, very insightful. And I think I read your book, and I am personally very, very benefited from those 3 points, because, you know, I'm from science background, being an academician whole my life. And when turning into a management consultant, sometimes out of experience, you know many things, but these things are to be told very, very crisp, and these have really helped. Yeah. So one more question which is coming from many participants is, what is the basic requisite for a young graduate to turn into or to step into the field of management consulting? So basically they are asking some particular skills apart from what you have already told, some qualifications.
Yeah, I think you can have any kind of theoretical background and still be a good management consultant. And again, depending on what you would specialize on. If you're going to do business consulting, you need to understand business, and you need to know something then that is related to business, like financing, marketing, accounting, etc. Not because you're going maybe to deal specifically with those aspects, but if you don't know anything about these aspects, then the client will lose trust in, even if you're the best doing a specific thing on a specific function, they will not trust you if it's clear that you don't understand anything about, let's say, financing or accounting or whatever. So if you don't have a business education background, I would strongly recommend to young people that wants to be a business or a management consultant, take some online courses. It's not that difficult. Learn the basics, understand how to read a financial statement, learn the lingo, and not just to cheat, but to really learn it. And always, I think it's a very good characteristic for any management consultant. And I'm indeed also talking for myself. And it is to always be hungry to learn more, and admit it when there's something you don't know. Don't pretend as I know this. Learn it instead. So you can have whatever theoretical background, but if you go to work with businesses, learn about businesses, and understand also that as a consultant, you are in a situation where you're providing advice and through influence, and it's not. And in many ways, it's a very good profession. But because, as I sometimes tell my client, just to maybe rub it in, and because it goes for all of us, we're not so happy about problems and to solve all our problems. So as I say, I'm the only one now that can go home and sleep well without thinking about all your problems. So never bring your clients' problems home with you. You have enough. We have, all of us, enough of personal and private problems. That's a part of life. It's a part of change also. So I don't know.
Yeah, and one more. Yeah, that was great. That is actually very very true. Management consulting is one field where any background can work. Yep. So you can work in healthcare, you can work in business, you can work in some manufacturing industry, some IT industry, HR consultant, yep. Tech consultant, but you should know some basics of the field in which you are going as specialized management consultant.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So one question is, can consultant be held responsible for their advices?
Should.
Can consultant be held responsible for their advices?
Yes, indeed.
In case, yeah.
Indeed. And, you know, this is very different in different cultures. If you work in North America, and I have worked a lot in North America, in Canada, and in the US as well, the liabilities and the contracts are very different from what we have in Europe, for example. And it's two different law systems even. We have a civil law here. They have a common law like you also have in India, I believe, or a variant of the common British common law. And depending on countries, the liabilities can be more severe than others, but I think it's always important to understand that when I give advices, that I can indeed be held responsible, and I should be held responsible. But that is why it's so important to remember not to overstep what you are really professionally sure about. Don't do harm, as I said. Don't step over and advise something that is I don't know anything about it. I think you should do it. Don't do that. And I try indeed also through my contracts to even make sure that the client understand that my advice are only advices and the decisions needs to be taken by the client, but that I will not advise them to do things that is not within my professional knowledge. So I need to master it myself if I give an advice. So you can absolutely be held accountable for your advices.
Right. And it is good that for freelancers or for management consultants, that entrepreneurs, because now management consulting is also turning into entrepreneurship. If you, like Kjetil suggested, please make this a point in your contracts right in the beginning, because decision is ultimately with the management of the client, not with you, not with the advisor. So Kjetil, can we have few more questions? Our participants are really, really excited, and they have put some very good questions. They have liked your content, lectures, and the delivery very, very engaging. They are very happy about it. They found it very crispy and to the point. So that's really encouraging and motivational for us also. So most of the questions you have already answered. So one question which I am trying to find out, there was, what is more important in an organization for success, people or process?
So as I think I already addressed, people are extremely important, but there's been a tendency that, and it's become almost like a culture tendency, especially in Europe, that people are the most important. And if I only get the right people, they can do whatever. And I don't agree with that. So there is a sequence. I will say that they're equally important, but if you put good people in charge or to run poor processes, this will not become very successful people. So there's a sequence, as I say, and it starts with the value system. It starts with the vision of the organization. It starts with the goals and with the objectives, that they're clear, that they're realistic, that they're shared. And then you build a next sequence. It's the structure. You need to build a structure where what you want to happen most likely will happen. And there's so many factors from outside. And take now the coronavirus. Even the best funded and the best structured company today might be in deep, deep trouble. So you never know, but build a structure where it most likely will happen what I want to happen. And then this structure will make our processes more easy to manage and to make the right processes. And then you get the people to fill this structure and to run the processes. So it's equally important, but the sequence is important. because there's a tendency to focus only on the people. So I honestly, I think businesses, organizations are spending too much time and put too much emphasis on interviewing, looking at people. We're all of us ending up being over-educated. And it's strange coming from me because I'm in the education business. So I want you to take education. But this is a tendency all over the world that we're over-educated, and you might be the wrong person anyway, no matter if you're the best, if I put you into a poor process and a poor structure. So that is my answer. Equally important, but the sequence is important, what you look at first. Don't start with the people.
Yeah. And one question is, how much a research past case study of a good or bad company helps in current times as a management consultant?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
How much a research on past case study? So if somebody has done or is studying a research which was being done in past of a good or bad company is important to be a good consultant. So if somebody is a consultant and he does research on some past case studies of some companies which may be good or bad, is it helpful for him or her to be a good consultant?
Yes, I would say indeed, and I think it's important both to look into what are the characteristics of successful companies. Do a research and try to look at what I shared with you, all these parameters. Look at how good do they score on mutual trust and respect. How good is their structure? What about their functional processes? What about the management team? What kind are they involving people and making decisions in a good way? Are they able to implement? Do they focus on the whole system rather than one piece? Because that's also very typical. You can do a very, very good job fixing one part of the organization. So you fix the manufacturing department, but you don't fix all the rest. Now, you're after a short time, the manufacturing department will fail again. So all these are what I would look at when I look at researches to make it holistic. You need to look at the organization in a holistic way, whether it's in good time or it's in bad times. You need to have a holistic approach. And if you cannot do it alone, you need to be a team to do it. So you are specialized in this, I'm specialized in that. But it takes a team to change a team. And that is also very important to understand. And if I'm a single consultant, specialize and say, I cannot fix the totality, but I can work on this part of the totality. So I don't know if
yes, very, very clear. And I'm happy with the way you talk. You are a very good speaker, Kjetil, and you can be a very good teacher also.
Thank you.
Because you are able to, transfer what you know and understand to the audience. A good teacher may be a very good expert. He knows very things, but it is very important to articulate the soul in the same way as he understands, so that the student also understands. So you should, give some management consulting lectures in your own university of Frederiksberg.
Yeah, maybe.
That's my idea. You would be hit. So I will take last two questions, which are popping up. One is, as leadership is concerned with conflict, and nowadays communicational conflict is much more concerned, so how to reduce it? And Aniket, do you have any question on your mind, on your panel?
I think my question has been answered. It was about management consulting during COVID-19. As you said, it's both about being good time and the bad time. It's the same framework.
Fine.
Yeah.
So this one is with conflict, and the other one is how to study management in Canada now post COVID-19. So I think for that, Kjetil definitely has an answer.
Yeah, I think so. The conflict question was what was the?
Yeah, I will tell again once more.
Management do or?
Yeah, as leadership is concerned with conflict. And nowadays, communicational conflict is much concern. So how to reduce it?
Okay. So I will start with the conflicts question first. So back to what I already talked about is that, first of all, conflicts is normal, right? That's very important to understand. Some cultures, they avoid conflicts, which doesn't mean that the conflicts are not there, or rather the problems are there and they will grow. You heard about the phrase, the elephant in the room. Some cultures, they have a manege of elephants and they never talk about them. So conflict is necessary. And by the way, conflicts are good, but it's back to what I said. You need to have a way to deal with conflicts so that it doesn't become disintegrative. So it doesn't become destructive, which means I need first to be, not only first, but I need to work on my mutual trust. I need to make sure that everyone feels that I share the same interest. So, and it goes for any system for me, the family, the company, the nation. If you have a nation and you feel we're not sharing the same interest, guess what? That nation is only a question of time before it will disintegrate and fall apart, no matter how big, how mighty. So to be strong is not about how big you are, but how flexible you are and how good you are and integrating differences of interest, and to make people understand we share interested, or at least to feel that there are some very, very important interests that we share as a nation and in this company. So to deal with conflicts, work on trust and do it in a respectful way, deal with each other in a respectful way, know how to disagree without being disagreeable. And there's a whole technology how to do this. And it's not to avoid it, it's to address it. And it's, for example, instead of saying to people, I completely disagree with you, say, I have a different opinion. Now people will listen to your opinion. And it's the same message. But if you say, I totally disagree with you, people will stop listening to you and prepare their reply even before they listen to what you're saying. So that's what I mean with form to build respect. And there is a tendency to, again, over-focus on conflicts, over-focus on human resources. Why? Because there is too many consultants that make too much money dealing with conflicts and human resource aspects without actually providing any solutions. Actually, they can contribute to make the conflicts even bigger. So for me, it's all about what I've just shared with you. And of course, there's a lot of details in it, but you need to understand, how do I build step by step the necessary environment so that we can handle conflicts in a constructive way. This is how you will become much more successful than your competitors. That's the thing. The key word here is integration versus disintegration. So as a management consultant, as a leader, always think and always talk as a leader and think about integrating. Even when you disagree with people, try to find out, how do I integrate? How do I talk to be integrative rather than disintegrative? So I mean, that's how I would respond to that. Management consulting in times of Corona and how to study in Canada, it goes together in a way. What is interesting is that I haven't done management consulting in a long time because I've been busy with my business that I have in Canada, and I'm living in Switzerland, so I cannot travel also now in these Corona times. But what is interesting is that I have got new consulting clients, and they have got in touch with me via email and online and Zoom and whatever, because they are in really times of crisis now, and they're worried and they want to know what to do. And I've had several discussions with clients about how to handle this situation. So I think, and you can read more about it in my book, management consulting is going to change. And one of the changes is it's going to be much more of what we are doing now, online seminars instead of traveling. I've traveled my part in my life. I've been to, I don't know how many countries I've been to, but I've done consulting in 23 different countries. The only continents I've not been in is Australia and Antarctica. I don't even know if there's any clients in Antarctica, so I exclude that. So online is going to be more dominant in the future, I'm sure. And education, if you are 30, 35, 40 years old and you want to enhance your education, you already have an undergraduate degree, you're already having a university degree, and you want to have a master's degree or maybe eventually a doctor's degree, do it online. I know that it has to do with the online system, and in some parts of the world it's not advanced enough and good enough and stable enough yet, but whoever can, do it online. You don't need to travel. You don't need to disrupt your life and your family and your work to go take an education if you're an adult. And if you want a blended and mixed thing, that will happen also. And we are talking about at my university in Canada, University of Fredericton, that we will make a blended classes, maybe especially directed towards India and Bangladesh and other countries where we have had interest from, that we will do online as much as possible online. And then we will have summer classes where you come to Canada and have intensive sessions with the professors in Canada. So guys, there will be, some of us are more privileged. We live in a more normal world maybe than others. So what is normal? I don't know. But there will be better times for all of us. And if we just take home value from what we're experiencing now and start to use some of the insights we got through this crisis, I think we will actually do better eventually. It's we're at a very certain time in economy, in politics, in history, and I'm a born optimist. I think we can do it better than we're doing today. So I have only one question left that nobody dared to answer maybe, or it's difficult with this format. Well, what's the difference between a manager and a management consultant? And as you have listened to this, the first thing is to say, really, there is no big difference. A manager or a leader needs to do the same as a good management consultant. But the main difference anyway is, of course, that the manager, he or she is the one with the formal responsibility of their business, of their towards their employees. They have the accountability. And as a management consultant, I only have influence and I give advice. And it's very important to understand these two different things. But I'm working for the management, I'm working for the leadership, and I need to think like a leader if I want to be a good management consultant. And that's why also if you spend some years trying to become a good management consultant, if you have the other personal qualities to lead people, I think it's the best experience and the best school you can make in order to become a good leader. So I encourage anyone that feel the call to become a consultant to really try and to really do that.
Thank you, Kjetil, on that optimistic note and for such an interesting session. I think we all are very, very happy and getting so many comments of appreciation and of thanking notes. So Aniket, would you like to end the session with your notes?
Yeah, sure. So firstly, Mr. Kjetil's book, Management Consulting is Not for Dummies. We have the link. We will send our participants the link for the 50% discount. It's already there in the chat. And there's, I think that's from my side, ma'am. I think last is for you.
So I will again tell that University of Fredericton, Kjetil Sandermoen is chairman of the university, and he invested in this university more than a decade ago. This is first online accredited University of Canada. And he has established Sandermoen School of Business apart from other degrees and certificate programs. Sandermoen School of Business provides MBAs and executive MBAs. So anybody who was asking if one can do post-graduation in management from Canada, so this is one best bet because one can do it along with working or along with studying. Secondly, thank you all the participants for being here. You will get an email from us in next 1 day or 2 days, which will have a Google form. You have to fill it up with your name and email address so that it will generate an e-certificate. But the mail will go only to those attendees who have attended today's session for more than 75% of a session. And we have whole data from Zoom. So please do not send me mails asking e-certificates separately. Somebody who has not done 75% of this session will not be given a chance, please. We need to respect our international experts who have found all the time being busy to come here and educate us all. Secondly, our next webinar is almost planned on entrepreneurship and challenges of budding entrepreneurship. We are able to bring additional secretary of Niti Aayog, Dr. Ramanathan, who is also mission director of Atal Innovation Mission and vice chancellor of SRM University, one serial entrepreneur, Dr. Deepak Singh, and we are talking to a few other people who can come on board. So please be there. We will send you registration link within 2-3 days as the dates would be finalized. So I'm ending this session here. Thank you, Kjetil. Thank you, all the participants.
Thank you so much, sir.
See you again on our next webinar. Thank you. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Have a good evening.
Namaste.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Recording.